afternoon. I thank the HT Media Group for this opportunity to be part of this distinguished gathering of PFSI. Finance is the lifeblood of the economy. As we aspire to Viksit Bharat by 2047, it is important that various segments of the financial sector develop commensurately to support the process. In this context, I am happy to share my thoughts on the pension segment, particularly the national pension system, reviewing the development so far and concluding by underscoring the need for wider coverage of pension going forward. The pension assets form a major chunk of global investment, estimated around 43% of total assets under management. In India, pension assets estimated around 50 lakh crore, that's about $600 billion, are relatively modest compared to such global assets of over 63 trillion US dollar. The largest retirement fund in India is the Employees Provident Fund, and I presume most of you would be part of EPFO, ranks 21st by size in global pension fund ranking. With government pension fund, Japan ranking first with an AUM of over 1.6 trillion US dollar. The national pension system, including the Atal Pension Yojana that we in PFRDA manage, has assets of about 13.8 lakh crore, so which is about $162 billion. In the past, pension was perceived to be the privilege of the government employment. It is no longer so with the introduction of NPS in 2004, first for the government employees and then extended to private corporates, including a common person in 2009, and now to children with the scheme of NPS Vatshalya, which we launched in September 2024. Why then there is a such slower pension adoption? Anyone coming of age joining the workforce will retire sometime. Hence, financial provision for post-retirement life ought to be made when one is working. That too early in the working career to build a corpus harnessing the power of compounding that could provide adequate regular income support post-retirement. Pension products are designed for that purpose. Why then pension adoption? Relative to both the size of our population and workforce is low. There could be several reasons. Let me emphasize on three of those. First, financial literacy and awareness. Financial literacy is a key driver in taking sound financial decisions. The objective of financial education is to make citizens better prepared to manage their money and finance, attain their financial goals so as to avoid financial stress later in their lives. Elevated level of financial knowledge ultimately leads to improvement in individuals' financial well-being. The challenge of financial literacy is not limited to India alone. Only a third of adults surveys across 39 countries by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, that is OECD, reach the minimum target score of financial literacy. Back home, RBI NCFE Financial Literacy Survey for India suggested that only 25% of people are thinking to make retirement savings. The additional challenge in the present time is also to improve digital financial literacy levels of citizens, as all of us are exposed to fintech for delivery of financial services. For example, NPS is fully digital, though there is physical mode of onboarding. It is important to be aware of one's responsibility in a digital financial environment while being cognizant of risk of digital cyber frauds. Considering our diverse population in terms of social, economic, and cultural factor, a one-size-fits-all approach of financial literacy program may not yield the desired results, and customization at different level of geographies is warranted. More than content, the manner of communication becomes important, as in the standard curriculum, aspects of personal finance are not generally cover. It is worth the effort improving financial literacy, which is seen to contribute positively to one's financial well-being. Second, the nature of our labor force. The bulk of the workforce is engaged in unorganized informal sector where they do not have access to occupational pension such as in the organized sector. According to India Employment Report 2024, 81% of our labor force was in the unorganized sector in 2022. Efforts are made by the government to provide pension to low-income households. For example, under APY, a guaranteed pension of 1,000 to 5,000 rupees is available depending on one's contribution. We have enrolled 7.3 crore subscribers under APY, among whom 6.2 crore are currently active. Self-initiated saving by the old age is necessary. In addition, government does provide some social security assistance to underprivileged and low-income individuals, but that may not be adequate without one's own saving. The composition of a labor force creates its own challenge to retirement planning. The rise of gig economy, digital platform has redefined the character of our labor force. The Social Security Code 2020 envisages social security for them. While that takes shape, such workers could enroll under NPS or APY depending on their capacity. Third, affordability. In a contributory pension system, individual earnings do matter to a long-term financial decision like pension. Currently, with per capita income of around $2,500, we are a lower middle income country, as per the World Bank classification. With sustained GDP growth, India for sure will progress to an upper middle income country with per capita income of upwards of $4,200 in the next decade. We aspire to be a high income developed country by the middle of the century. One implication of this is that financial ability of our population to adapt pension would continue to increase with rise of income. Let me focus on the changing financial behavior that we observe. The financial behavior of retail investors in India is going through a phase of rapid transition. Financial attitude seems to be changing. Components of households' gross financial assets indicate that in a decade, between 2013-14 and currently 2023-24, the share of cash and bank deposits has declined from 62% to 44%, and that of bond and equity has risen from 2% to 8%. Financial saving for social security, such as in insurance, provident and pension fund, has shown a steady increase from 32% to 38%. As I mentioned earlier, the pension sector that the PFRDA regulates, covering NPS and APY, has investment of 13.8 lakh crore, out of which infrastructure investment is about 2 lakh crore and equity investment is about 2.6 lakh crore. As our income levels rise and with growing participation in the schemes, the sector is poised to grow, as in advanced countries such as in OECD countries that we have seen that the pension assets average about 87% of total GDP. In certain countries, it is even more than 100% and 200%, for example, in Scandinavian countries. When it comes to wealth accumulation, diversification becomes very important and a balanced approach is required as per the age, need and risk appetite of individuals. In this context, NPS becomes a very good tool for disciplined saving as well as balanced investment so as to accumulate a good amount of wealth during the working life of an individual. It has robust regulatory framework and established architecture where every function is managed by professionals. It is fully digital, very flexible, and offers a wide range of choice for the investor as per the need and risk appetite. Let me briefly review the progress of NPS. I understand there's another session following me, then where you will have details on the NPS sector. NPS provides both active and auto choice for investing one's own corpus. The financially sophisticated individuals can go for active choice under NPS, where they can choose up to 75% allocation to equity and up to 100% in debt. The investor who do not want to actively involve in fund allocation may make auto choices of life cycle funds, where the investment allocation automatically changes as per the age of the subscriber. There are 4 types of auto choices given, giving a predetermined mix of equity and debt, matching the requirement of varied investors. Conservative life cycle, that is LC25, moderate life cycle LC50, and aggressive life cycle LC75, and also recently we introduced a balanced life cycle fund. This 25, 50, 70 means the equity component, and obviously as you age, the equity component comes down and the fund gets rebalanced. In addition, NPS has offered a very attractive return of about 13.2% per annum in equity since its inception. NPS scheme for government employees, which is a conservative mix of both debt and equity, has given a return of 9.5% per annum since inception. NPS is also tax efficient. Both the accumulation and corpus are exempt from income tax. For corporate subscriber, 14% of salary contributed to NPS is exempt from income tax, both for the employer and the employees under the new tax regime. Of course, under the old tax regime, there is additional deduction of contribution up to rupees 50,000. NPS Vatshalya, introduced in September 2024, is accepted well with 86,000 subscribers so far. It can be seamlessly ported to workplace pension on the child coming of age and joining the workforce, thereby providing continuity to one's retirement saving account. Thus, it has become a family product. NPS has become a family product in the sense now any member of the family from infancy to 70 years who can join NPS. As the vesting period is enlarged, one could harness the power of compounding to accumulate substantial corpus, ensuring adequate pension on one's retirement. The subscriber number under NPS are growing rapidly with an active subscriber base of 1.6 crore. However, the NPS subscriber under the private sector, both corporate and individual, at 64 lakh, suggest ample scope for further expansion. While NPS has made pension accessible to all, there is a need for greater adoption. Appreciating the need for post-retirement financial security, it is important to bear in mind the imperatives of our demography and economic trajectory. Let me conclude. India currently is the fastest growing large economy in the world. At the same time, it also projected to age rapidly. Currently, every 10th person is over the age of 60 years. By the middle of the century, every 5th Indian is expected to be over 60 years of age. Further, the older dependency ratio is expected to increase from 18% in 2020 to 30% by 2050, exerting pressure not only on our younger generation, but also on our financial resources. Longevity of present and future generation Indian would be much higher. The longevity of women is more than men, underscoring the need for better gender balance in pension coverage. NPS subscriber data from the private sector, including individuals, suggests that only a quarter are women. So this is largely the nature of organized labor force, where there are less women than men in the workforce. Living longer implies that one needs money for a longer period to take care of oneself when one is not able to work, to earn for oneself. The retirement phase becomes more challenging because of the rise in medical expenses, increasing nuclear family structure, and limited access to formal credit facilities. Thus, with every passing year after superannuation, one gets exposed to financial risk unless adequate provision has been made to take care of retirement. The issue of pension coverage, adequacy, and sustainability is not limited to us. It is a global challenge in the face of aging and countries are grappling with. NPS has emerged as a well-regulated, digitally enabled, low-cost pension scheme for all with competitive returns. We at PFRDA are committed to protecting the interest of subscriber and fostering trust in the pension ecosystem through continuous improvement in security, transparency, and operational efficiency. Once again, I thank Hindustan Times Group for inviting me to interact with you. So thank you very much.